If you are a hunter main and love using stasis, this build is for you. You're going to freeze a ton of enemies, and as they are frozen, you're going to use this sniper called the Icebreaker. They will explode. And you can also get precision kills with this sniper to cause an ignition as well. So you're basically going to be getting infinite ammo, unlimited ignitions, and you're going to be freezing every single enemy around you, which is very good for crowd control. Yes, I do know Icebreaker just came out and not many people have it. I was just one of the lucky ones that completed it on contest mode. So I just wanted to make a build right off the bat. So as soon as you get your Icebreaker, you can come back to this video and copy the build and you can try it out for yourself. But before you're about to click off, let me explain the build for you. We're first going to want to know which exotic we're going to be using for this build. To make this build even better when it comes to freezing tons of targets, we're going to need to use this new exotic called Mask of Fealty. I don't know how to pronounce it, but I think it's Fealty. Let me feel your tea. Whoa! And the armor perk for this exotic armor piece is called Null Factor. Withering Blade hits and bounces creates a small stasis crystal and refunds a portion of melee energy. Using Withering Blade to shatter crystals or frozen targets releases a spread of Withering Blades. So we are only going to be using the first part for this perk instead of the second part because our goal for this build is to freeze them, and then we would use our Icebreaker to get that final blow, which will cause a shatter and also an ignition. And at first, when I thought of this exotic piece, I thought it would just only slow them, but apparently if you were to hit them with one melee on a direct hit, they will immediately freeze because of that small crystal that would spawn either behind them or around them. So it would only take one Withering Blade to freeze them, which will cause a shatter and also an ignition for your Icebreaker. And don't worry about producing melee energy. This build will generate a boatload of melee energy and also class ability energy and also grenade energy as well. So you're going to be having a ton of ability spam. This super is extremely powerful when you're dealing with high value targets such as champions, bosses, mini bosses, and all that much, because it would non-stop slow and also freeze them, specifically freezing. And whenever you see that high enemy HP target getting frozen, pull out your sniper and just keep spamming your sniper until you see that he's frozen. In the clip that you saw in the beginning of the video, that's what I did. It was pretty busted if you want to get those guaranteed ignitions. So let's head to the Revenant subclass. For the abilities, of course, go for Gambler's Dodge, because whenever you dodge near an enemy, it would refund a Withering Blade. And again, the only melee we have is Withering Blade, so I guess just put that because there's nothing else. I don't know why I said that, but yeah. And for the grenade, I do recommend going for Cold Snap Grenade just for an additional way to freeze targets to also, again, cause an ignition for your Icebreaker. And we can be able to enhance Cold Snap Grenades even further with this aspect called Touch of Winter, because your Cold Snap Grenade Seeker duplicates after freezing a target and also creates a Stasis Crystal on detonation. And the main aspect for this build is Grim Harvest, because whenever we defeat slowed or frozen targets, it will create a Stasis Shard, and these shards will grant melee energy whenever you pick them up by you or your allies. And when this aspect is equipped, picking up Stasis Shards also grants a stack of Frost Armor, which is a damage reduction if you have it procced. This is kind of like Woven Mail, but less of a damage reduction compared to that, but beggars can be choosers. For the fragments, I do recommend going for Whisper of Chain. Defeating targets while you have Frost Armor has a chance to create a Stasis Shard. This is an additional way to produce more Stasis Shards to give us more melee energy, so we could be having more of an uptime when spamming our melees. You would also be getting plus 10 recovery as well. The second fragment, go for Whisper of Hunger, increases the melee energy gained from picking up a Stasis Shard. This is the main fragment you're going to need to use if you want to keep spamming your shurikens. But sadly, you'll get minus 20 strength. The third fragment is Whisper of Conduction. This is one of the lazy people out there, especially myself, that are too lazy to collect Stasis Shards. So nearby Stasis Shards track to your position. The fourth one is Whisper of Shards. Shattering a Stasis Crystal temporarily boosts your grenade recharge rate. Shattering additional Stasis Crystals increases the duration of this benefit. I just put this one just to give me more of grenade energy recharge rate for my cold snaps, because I can just keep spamming it non-stop. But if you don't want to use that, you could also go for this other fragment that will increase your shattering damage and also burst, which is Whisper of Fissures. And the last fragment is Whisper of Refraction. Defeating slowed or frozen targets grants you class ability energy. Again, we're just going to be dodging if you want to get more melee energy, so I just put that. For the kinetic weapon, Again, for the gameplay that you were seeing at the beginning of the video, I was using Midnight Coup because your boy didn't get lucky to get this Giga Chad of a roll of this hand cannon. And the perks that you would want to go for this hand cannon is Headstone. Whenever you get a precision final blow, it will spawn in a stasis crystal at the victim's location. And the best part of this hand cannon is this new perk that came out is Rhyme Stealer. Destroying a stasis crystal or defeating a frozen target with this weapon will grant you frost armor. You don't really need it for this build, but it does really help. But at this time, I am using Midnight Coup. What's also cool about Midnight Coup is that on the origin trait called Indomitability, when playing on a dark subclass, you will get melee energy back. So if you want to use Midnight Coup for that melee energy, go for it. Let's head to the nitty gritty for the icebreaker. The intrinsic trait is called the No Backpack. Final blows or assists with any other weapon or ability have a chance to create ammo for the icebreaker. Defeating powerful combatants will create multiple rounds. So every 2 kills on a red bar enemy, you would get 1 ammo for the icebreaker. And if you were to kill an elite, you would get +2 in the magazine. And lastly, if you were to kill a mini boss or higher, you would get +3 in the magazine. The weapon perk for this sniper rifle is called Icebreaker. Defeating a target with this weapon causes them to explode. That's the Firefly explosion that kind of looks like it. And also whenever you get a precision final blow or shattering a frozen target, instead triggers an ignition. When that enemy is frozen, try to get a precision hit to increase your damage even further. That's if you're only dealing with like high value targets like the high HP big chungus boys. But other than that, you can just hit them in the crotch, the chest, the cheeks maybe, if you like that. This took me a whole entire day to get this goddamn catalyst. You don't really need it, but it would really help on the ammo economy for this sniper rifle. In most cases, you're mostly going to be using this very, very often instead of you needing to swap to your other weapons and also using your abilities. Here's what it does. Landing a hit on a slowed or frozen target has a chance to return the round to the magazine. So in our case, when landing a hit on a frozen target, every other hit that we were to get on a frozen target will generate an ammo for the icebreaker. And for the power weapon, you can choose any grenade launcher you like, but I would like to go for the bitter/sweet. But in the gameplay that you're seeing, I was using Edge Transit, but at the time that I'm recording, there is a bug specifically for the Edge Transit. If you were to spam your grenade launchers, somehow you would kill yourself. I don't know how, but if you were to spam it, it's basically like a teammate coming in front of you. What? And if you want to get a Giga Chad roll for the bittersweet, here are the perks that you would need. The first one on the third column, go for Envious Arsenal. Dealing damage with both other weapons before readying this weapon refills it from reserves. And also go for Bait and Switch. Dealing damage with all equipped weapons within a short time will give this weapon a big cucumber damage boost, aka it would give you a 30% increase in damage for a certain amount of time, which is 10 seconds. So here's how you can be able to use this build. Step 1, use your Withering Blade on a target. Once they are frozen, swap to your Icebreaker to get that precision kill or that body shot hit to cause that ignition to hopefully give you an extra round in the magazine. Then just keep getting more frozen kills and you get ammo back. That's basically it. And here's what I was using for the seasonal artifacts. I was using this one just to weaken targets with my grenade launcher. And the best one for stasis is Brain Freeze. Frozen combatants become surrounded by a chilling fog, which slows combatants that are frozen, which is pretty nice. But again, you don't really need any of these seasonal stasis artifact mods. Without this, you're good to go. But this just makes your build even better. So for the stats, I do recommend to go for Discipline just for your grenade cooldown, so you just keep spamming your cold snap grenades more often. And also go for Resilience just to make you survive longer, just for that damage reduction. I didn't recommend Mobility because we have this fragment called Whisper of Refraction, because we're going to be freezing a ton of targets, which will give us tons of class ability energy. So having tier 10 mobility won't even matter. Completo delito. Don't get tier 10 mobility, I swear to God. And if you guys would like to see all of the armor mods, it would be right here on screen if you guys would like to take a picture. And again, I do want to mention that for the solar targeting and dexterity, you can change it as you please. For the solar dexterity, I would change it to grenade kickstart if you'd like, if you want to produce more grenade energy. Melee kickstart does not work with the Withering Blade, sadly. If I could, I would, but you can swap it to grenade kickstart. And for solar targeting, you can go for Powerful Friends or Radiant Light. Either of those two would work. All right, so here are my thoughts for the build. When I first got the exotic, I thought that this exotic would just slow them non-stop, aka it will take 2 Withering Blades to freeze that target. But once I tried it the first time, it only took one withering blade. It just gave me a light bulb. I'm like, holy crap, I can use the icebreaker. And bada bing, bada boom, here we are. I think that this build will be extremely powerful if you were to play by yourself instead of teammates, because you know how teammates get when they steal your shit, or should I say your frozen shit. Imagine freezing shit. And this also ties to other teammates as well. Let's just say if your other teammate is running stasis as well, or freezing targets, if they were to freeze a target, all you would have to do is take their kill with that icebreaker and they will go boom. So I would think this build is extremely fun and also powerful because of the icebreaker. Without it, I think that this build would be schmeat. But yeah, this may be my personal favorite build for this season. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed. Feel free to hit that like button and also subscribe. Have a good rest of your day, evening, or afternoon. Take care and peace.